Hi everyone, it's me Nikki here to share with you my fall-inspired tablescape along with a new recipe I tried, the pumpkin biscotti. My girlfriend Crystal came over this morning for coffee and some girl talk, and I said, oh, this is the perfect time to try out the pumpkin biscotti. And so that's what this video is going to be today. I'm going to take you through my process of making that for the first time, along with showing you the kind of casual tablescape that I did for our little girls coffee morning. So I hope you will enjoy. I'm going to start with the recipe and then I'll get right into the tablescape. So the first step is to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. You want to take your flour, brown sugar, baking powder, salt, pumpkin pie spice, and then we're going to blend that all together. And that's just your dry ingredients. Now the next thing, in a separate bowl, you're going to put your pumpkin pie puree, your 2 eggs, slightly beaten, and your vanilla extract. And then you're just going to mix that all together. And you want to mix it well. And I actually got this recipe from mybakingaddiction.com. I'll put the link in the description box below. And so then you're going to blend it in easily into the dry ingredients, and it is going to be kind of lumpy and kind of, chunky, so don't worry about that. Then you're going to melt your butter in a little saucepan, and then from that point, once you have the butter completely melted, the next thing is to add your nuts. And you can add, I used walnuts, you can use pecans, you can use whatever you prefer. And then once you have it crushed and the butter melted in, you're going to pour that into the mixture. And I'm going to mix that all up nicely to make sure it goes all through. And then on a slightly floured surface, I'm going to divide the mixture into 2. And then I'm going to try to mold it into logs. You want to have it into 2 logs, 2 inch by 10 inch. So now that I have my 2 logs, I'm going to lightly oil a baking sheet. And I like to use this Crisco here. And then I'm going to place my logs on there, and you want to just make sure that they're 3 inches apart. So after baking for 24 minutes, this is what you have. And so it's not completely done yet, but from this point you want to let it cool for about 15 minutes. So after I let it cool for 15 minutes, the next thing I had to do is slice it at an angle in about 1/2 inch sizes. And so once you do this, you can kind of see it takes on the shape of your biscotti. But you're not done with your biscotti because we are going to have to put this back in the oven. And so you will notice the center of the biscotti will be slightly less done. And that's fine because, that's pumpkin and it's going to, when you put it back in the oven, it's going to cook that part of it. So after putting it in the oven for 8 minutes, I'm going to flip it over and put it back in the oven for 7 minutes for the other side. Okay, now that our biscotti is complete, let's move on to my tablescape. Now, because we're having morning coffee, just me and Crystal, my friend girl, and we're just going to sit around, I wanted to do something fall-inspired because it is the fall season. And this is my kitchen table, and if you followed me for a while, you know this is the table in the kitchen where we sit around and we laugh and talk and have our coffee every morning. And so, I kept my fall decor for this table simple, just my simple white owl that I had, and then I put my little silverish kind of pumpkin on here with my candelabra, and I left it at that. And you guys know I love my neutrals, and so This is simple for me, and this is what I like. It's not for everyone, you know. So a lot of people like more color, and I think color is beautiful also. But just this is kind of my kind of taste and what makes me feel good when I come to my kitchen table. And you have to do what feels good to you. And so with the Tablescape, I'm only going to do our 2 place settings here because it's just me and my friend girl. And so I'm going to just move these everyday chargers, and these stay on my table all the time because they protect my table. We simply put our plates or cups or whatever. They're like big coasters for the table. And I'm going to replace them with these orange ones, which are kind of bring out that fall color and a big burst of color for the Tablescape. And you notice I'm only doing our 2 settings because it's just she and I. It's very informal, so I don't feel like I have to do the whole table or anything like that. And so the next thing I want to add a little whimsy by putting out my actual pumpkin mugs. And I love these mugs because they're large size and they can fit plenty of coffee in them. They're very whimsy and they are about $1 and some change from Walmart. And you can usually get them this time of year. And this is the Better Homes and Garden series or brand, I should say. And so they're perfect to go along with the charger and to bring out that fall color. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put out my plates. Now you guys know I like my white plates. There's no secret, but I love them because you can use them all the time. And yes, it's fall, but I'm still using my white plates because they kind of are great with anything, and they bounce off of my little owl and my table and my decor, and so it brings that back to the actual setting. So white works perfectly for this Tablescape, so I'm happy with that. So I'm going to put one, and these are actually the smaller version of, these are my breakfast plates, so it works great because we're not really having a full breakfast. It's just kind of coffee morning. And so then I'm going to put out my napkins, which these are some simple khaki napkins I had. And you guys remember these famous napkin rings. I did a shopping haul about a year or so ago with those. But I think they bring in the nice fall colors and the bronzy. And the napkin kind of bounces off my little pumpkin there. It really coordinates well with that. And it brings that portion from the centerpiece to the actual place setting. And then also the bronze matches the handles on the mug. So I'm going to give us each one of those. And so that will be our napkin for our little Tablescape. And you notice they bounce off kind of my mats and things like that also. So it works nicely. And so then after that, I have our little settings there. I'm going to put this little candle here. And this is a pumpkin, I want to say pumpkin spice kind of scent. And it's just simply a Glade candle. Nothing fancy. Something you can get right out of your grocery store. But I love that it was very simple. And I could just put it there. And it also brought in those fall colors, and then also the aroma, which is amazing. Now this is a plate I've had for absolutely years. I could not tell you. I think it's a Gibson brand, but I couldn't tell you where I got it. But I do bring it out around the fall season because it's a nice little serving platter, and that's actually going to be for the biscotti. So, and then this is another tiered plate that I've had for years that I've ordered. I think it's some home show or home party. I don't know if it was Pampered Chef or something, but I added the leaves on top, and that's where I'm going to put a little bit of fruit there. I love the colors. It has the greens. It really goes nicely along with my little butter dish and my little pumpkin butter knife that I've had for a lot of years, so I couldn't tell you where I got that from either, so I'm sorry. But you see those stuff. This time of year is a great time to pick up on all of these things because you can get them, you see them everywhere. And so then I'm going to put out some tea. You know, we typically drink coffee, but I wanted to have tea in case you wanted tea, and I have some orange spice tea, which brings in the season, and we're just on fall overload here, and I love it. So I wanted something just kind of, you know, saying fall to us. Of course, our cream and sugar, gotta have that for your coffee. And so I'm going to put out my simple white that I got from, I want to say, Ross. Sugar and creamer set. Very simple pieces. These are my everyday casual pieces. And so they're working, you know, great with this little Tablescape. Very informal. And I'm going to serve this pumpkin pie spice creamer. And so, you know, we're doing pumpkin overload. You know, this is the time where we indulge in pumpkin, and I love it. You know, I only do this once a year, so this is my time. And so I'm going to fill up my little creamer dish here with the creamer, and so have that ready. And then my butter, and I've just kind of cut up a couple pieces of butter because it's just the two of us. We don't need a lot, and sit that there to put on our kind of muffins. So now here is the biscotti, and I draped it with a little white chocolate. I love how they came out. I'm so proud of them, and it's perfect complement to our coffee, and I am just over the moon happy with it. I definitely would do this recipe again, and so it fits perfect on my little tray. I have some peaches here with some seedless grapes here, and put that on there just to give us a little bit of fresh fruit. And so I'll sit that on the side there. And again, we're just having coffee and some simple kind of just treats there. And because I did buy a backup bread in case my biscotti didn't turn out, I put a couple pieces of that out also just in case, you want to put some little butter on there and have that with the coffee. That's a lot yummy. And I just put it in my little toaster serving dish there, and it sits up nice there. And so we're just going to sit that out, and that is it. It's not much to it, but I'm happy with how it turned out. You had such a great time. We really did. We literally sat around all morning and afternoon and talked and laughed and really enjoyed each other's company. This tablescape was very simple. Took me all of minutes to do. I was happy to be able to bring out my fall kind of dinnerware, and not even dinnerware. This is kind of the stuff that stays in my cabinets, but the mugs are, adding that pop of the season in there, and the candles adding the pop of season in there. And by baking these this morning, the house smelled nice and pumpkin smell, and then, just having the candle going, and with my, other scents from the season that I have put throughout my house, it just really was a nice warm feeling. And so I'm happy with how it turned out. I'm happy I was able to share it with you. Now, I did make another batch also for Crystal to take home. And so what I did was I packaged hers up. I put a little ribbon on it, a little bit of fall kind of accessories, kind of just decorated it with a little bit of fall picks on the top. And this little plate you can get from Party City or Dollar Store, a little metal tray, and so that she could keep it. And perfect. So I hope you've enjoyed my kind of girlfriends or friend girls kind of morning coffee. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to put this recipe on my blog at AtHomeWithNikki.com. I hope you have a great weekend and a beautiful day. And this is Nikki saying goodbye.